welcome to the RSS podcast, season 2. It's the only feed you need. Myself, Rushmore, and today we have UK Club Vanguard, Mr. Scratch Clark, aka Mr. Scratcha DVA. Hi, man. Thanks for jumping on and catching up, man. It's been a pleasure. I know we tried to do this at some point last year, and obviously a hell of a lot of stuff's happened in between, which I'm sure we'll cover in the next however many minutes. But yeah, man, how you doing?
I'm good, bro. Like, I'm just here, I'm chilling, like getting to chill. That's the most important thing. Like, people might take this downtime as like a nightmare or the worst time of their life, but it's like getting to actually chill and have a look and have a think. It's nice. So exactly. That's what I'm doing at the moment, as well as making loads of music. But yeah, like just having a look, having a think, and staying productive. You know what I mean? That's just my thing at the moment, not just overdoing anything.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's important, man. I think I've spoken to a couple of other people who do music full time and stuff, and yeah, everyone's just trying to take it in its kind of stride, you know. And I think that's the best way, because I think sometimes even with everything else that's usually going on, it can get quite overwhelming if you just start kind of thinking about everything at once. And just enjoy the time while you got it.
So me and you might be enjoying the time. But I could just off of social media though, really, I'm seeing that just some people might be saying they might not be enjoying this time. You know what I'm saying? But I just, you know what I mean? So it's worth just anyone who is not enjoying it at the moment and is listening to this, then there is that. Try and look at it as there's a tunnel and we're in it and there's a light at the end. That's what it looks like to me. You know what I'm saying? And we just go in that direction. You know what I mean? But there is an end of the tunnel. But yeah, there's people. Listen, maybe because I wasn't traveling every single weekend like some of these other artists and DJs. You know what I mean? I traveled, but not every weekend. Like every Thursday, you're gone till Sunday. Some of these people, and now they're just jamming at home, don't know what to do with their lives. They might be taking it a little bit harder. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can see that everyone's like, "Oh man, I just wish I was in the green room again."
Exactly. I think when you get into a routine of that, and obviously, yeah, you're used to it. I mean, obviously, it pays the bills, etc. But yeah, I guess just the lifestyle and socializing, and yeah, I guess people miss it. Yeah, now we're just stuck on the socials.
Yeah, stuck on socials and Zoom, bruv. That's it.
Yeah, just in 2D form, man.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, I guess as kind of ever with these conversations, I like to look at kind of an artist's formative years and kind of work our way to present day. So, to paint a bit of a picture for people as to what kind of you were into growing up, whether that's from a music or cultural perspective, and kind of what kind of shaped your tastes, I guess.
Yeah, I think just by having older, because I'm the youngest of the family, so having older brothers and sisters, like 2 older brothers and an older sister, who were ravers, you know what I mean? They've got to go rave when it was actually really a rave, you know what I'm saying? So not seeing them for the whole weekend and then coming back on Monday and telling me about some hardcore jungle tune, that was it, do you know what I'm saying? That's what I obviously I loved hip hop and stuff, you know what I mean? And whatever basically came on the TV, because I was jamming my mum. But then, there was this one time specifically, and it was a long time ago, but I remember I was at primary school at this time, and I remember it was a weekday, it was a school night. And my brother had come in from somewhere, and we shared a room. And he woke me up out of my bed, bro, to make me listen to a Prodigy track. He's like, "You need to listen to this." You know what I'm saying? What the hell is this? What's happening? He's just banging this Prodigy track. And I'm like, got to get up for school the next morning. And so I was always around it, you know what I'm saying? My brother Matthew got decks in the bedroom. And that was when it was before jungle, so it was hardcore was moving into jungle. It was that period. It was actually already jungle, but obviously if you was in jungle, you had a lot of hardcore as well. So my brother and his mates there would come around and mix in the bedroom. Obviously I couldn't touch any of these things. So when you go out, I'd be like, "What's this?" And I remember this moment of me picking up these 2 records, which both looked the same, had the same writing on it. And it was Andy C 31 Seconds, or whatever it was, Origin Unknown 31 Seconds, whatever the name of the track was.
Yeah.
And I remember putting them both on. He'd kill me if he knew I did this, and I just tried to make them mix together. I was you know what I mean, just trying, and that was it. You know what I mean? I was hooked, and then bringing it up into like Jungle Mania days when they had these compilations, and I would like, you know, be listening to that and just love all of that stuff.
Yeah, like 95, 96, I think that was, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So I think there was like Jungle Mania 94. I think my mum bought me them CDs. You know what I mean? If my mum saw like a Jungle compilation, she'd buy it. Do you know what I'm saying? And so I was heavily into that music. That's what was the kickstart was. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think like, yeah, it must have been like a few years kind of like after you, like my entry point was like the Jungle Mania 2 compilation. I think I had like older cousins, like went round there with my mum just to visit on a weekly, just dropping in or something. And yeah, like went up to her daughter's room and she was like showing me, she had a bomber jacket and a Jungle Mania.
Yeah.
Like
the bomber jackets.
And yeah, the M beat tracks on there. And yeah, that was kind of part of the entry point. And yeah, similar sort of time. But yeah, I bet, yeah, I mean, kind of having that, I guess, around you, kind of like when you're kind of like shaping your taste is obviously key to kind of, yeah, what's kind of like progressed afterwards. I mean, from there, like how kind of soon after did you either start DJing or producing? Was it like?
I mean, that was quite a while. I mean, that because I was just listening to it, and you know, you got your school friends, and there was a group of people who would listen to that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So saying that though, I'm trying to think about it now. I think everybody listens to Jungle because that's pretty much what was there. Do you know what I mean? As an underground thing for us in our age. Yeah. So, sorry, what was the question?
Like from like how was the transition from like I guess that really early entry point, and then like when did you have the light bulb moment to either DJ or produce, or like what was the hook for that?
I think it was listening to tracks, and then it became like, you know, just instead of just listening to it and enjoying it, it became a thing of like listening to it and like I'd like to. Why didn't the tune do that? Or, do you know what I mean? Or did you ever like, you know, just listen to the radio, you hear some song, and I've always had this thing of why didn't they do that harmony in the chorus? Yeah. So it just made me want to go and do it myself, my way. Do you know what I'm saying? And then that's what that was. So I think it was still Jungle times, M-Beat times, all of that sort of times, M-Beat with Jamiroquai. And because the good thing about Jungle is that it just has so much different vibes to it. It's not like drill, for example. No sets of drill, but it clearly is one sound, one way, and one mood a lot of the time. You know, I know you got this kind of R&B drill or whatever, but very much a mood to it. And some people might even say that about grime, but like with Jungle, there was so much different flavors you can have. So I think that's where my thing come from of just liking so much different things, because Jungle had so much different things about it. You know what I'm saying? So with that, with the M-Beat times and that, I'm listening to it, and then I think it was my 16th or 15th birthday, one of the two, and I'm like, I want to make music. That's it. Do you know what I'm saying? So how am I going to make music? Yellow Pages, bro.
That's a throwback, man. Jesus.
Yellow Pages.
The fucking big ass fucking thick book, man.
That's it. That was the internet.
That was it.
That was the internet, bro.
Yeah.
Because that was it. Like, if I wanted to do something, you had to go on Yellow Pages to do it, right? So I'm like, right. Yeah. And you just literally go to R. Yeah. There it is, recording studios. That easy. Where's one in my area? Ilford. Call it. How much? Cool. Can I book this? Went down there, and I hate telling this story. I hate it, but it's just a part of my start that I'm like, right, you know what? I'm going to go to the record shop, because I knew I had to sample stuff. Do you know what I'm saying? I knew that much. Because obviously, you know, listening to Jungle and Hardcore and what my brothers were listening to, you could hear things from like, you know, TV that they would sample or films and stuff. Right, I knew I needed to do that. So I went to the record shop and I'm like, having a look around, and I see this banger, which I loved. George Michael, Careless Whispers.
Oh, yes.
That was it. I'm making a Jungle version of that. Hey, why are you laughing, bro? That's a banger, bro.
I'm into it.
George Michael's a G. So anyway, I got that, went to the studio, which was just down the road, with some friends actually, because the studio was like £200 or something. You know, like back in it, like you're paying engineering fees, and it's like big studios. Like it wasn't like, you know, everyone works with whatever they work with, but back then it was like you had to have loads of equipment or you wasn't a recording studio. It wasn't some laptop thing.
Yeah.
So a lot of money to me back then. So it had to be my birthday. I wasn't even going to have that sort of money. My other mates chipped in as well. Yeah, we're making a Jungle version of this. Just give him the thing. He sampled the record or whatever. Boom, put some beats on top, and then that was it. So I was like, okay, it's that easy, is it? I have another idea. I want to do this, and then I got my niece to come down and sing on it. So that was it. That was a start. Like, it's just hearing things, wanting to do it in my own way, and doing it.
Yeah, I guess the kind of the inquisitive mind and like the curious mind in terms of like I guess like you said, kind of like listening to something and why didn't they do this, or I could do it like this, or like you said, like remixing one of your favorite artists,
Yeah.
So producing came first then, basically, before DJ.
Yeah. Always producing first, even now. That's why I'm not crying about not flying anywhere. Not that I don't appreciate it, and I appreciate any shows I've ever had in all my life, but like it's not killing me because I can still make music. When I can't make music, then I'm gonna be on social media crying.
Yeah, like if the laptop's down or you're like gone.
Yeah. That's it. Like, any reason I can't make music, that's when you'll see me pissed off. Otherwise, as long as I can do that, I'm happy. You know what I'm saying?
And then, I guess, from there, how did you, you obviously started your own label, but what was the sort of, from starting to produce through to, I guess, your first release, what was the first thing, or how did you start, sharing music and who with, and how did that whole process evolve for you from, sampling and making your first lot of tracks to then getting it out there, I guess?
Yeah, I think it was a few things so at that point I didn't know about getting tunes out or anything, so was just giving it to friends and stuff. But then after that, which one come first? There was two moments defining my. Oh, by the way, my older brother. Well, I got two older brothers, and they both actually had a couple mates who were into this thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Already in the industry. So I don't know if you know a house and garage DJ called Nico the Funkster, but that was one of my brother's friends who actually brought the decks around. He was on Deja Vu, but it wasn't even called Deja Vu then, it was called something else, but it's still 923. Anyway, he brought decks around, and then my other brother, Neil, his friend was Persian Prince, who's otherwise known as Same People. Do you know that? Dangerous, Locked On. Yeah. I used to actually go around his house. Yeah, Persian. I used to go around his house, and my brother would take me around there, and he'd be making tunes on the Amiga 500. You know what I'm saying? I knew that thing to play games, and he was making music, and I'm like, what's going on? And so there was also them links there. So, and also my niece's dad is MC Navigator, who's a big jungle drum and bass MC. So with them three people, the knowing that there's people in real life who can be in the industry, that's also a massive inspiration. I was my brother, mine and my brother's room, which was ultimately my brother's room because he was older and he could have whatever he wanted in there. The whole room was just covered in flyers from all different raves. And one time I see a flyer and it was just Navigator's face, Raymond's face. I'm like, that's Amber's dad. What's he doing on that poster? So these things like that will make you think, okay, you can do it and be a normal person too. I'm gonna do that. Do you know what I'm saying? And it kind of went from there. So I think the first record that actually got to put out and play out and get to everybody was that Persian Prince. I made it in his studio on the Amiga 500. Well, he made it, engineered it, and me and my friend Steve, my school friend, was there, letting him know what we wanted. So again, went with the samples we wanted, the ideas, and he just did it.
Amazing.
And that was called Take Off, that tune. That actually came out, and that was actually the first thing I ever had out, ever. It was a garage tune.
Garage, yeah.
Yeah, it was a garage tune. It was called Take Off, and it was basically just got bumped by this record label. Big bump. A guy called DJ Faz. You might know him. He made a tune called Destiny, garage tune.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah, this guy. It was him and another guy, and they just bumped it, bro. They just put the tune out and then sold me back the label, and I paid for it. I got a loan and paid for it, and I didn't actually. I bought nothing. They actually had nothing because it was a P&D deal. So all I did was pay for some artwork.
Yeah.
And it just got bumped. But that was the first tune that went out, which I saw DJs who I respected playing it. So MJ Cole and EZ and all these people. I'm like, oh my days, this is a thing. Sick. Let me do that again. So then you just do it again.
Rinse and repeat. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when you get those kind of moments of, I guess it's kind of recognition, isn't it, really? And you've got, like you said, your peers playing your music. It's yeah, it's a nice little confidence boost and just kind of reassures you that like what you're doing is kind of like accepted, it's working, and yeah, it's just kind of it's great to give you a little boost to like, push you on to the next kind of stage, isn't it?
Exactly. So wait, was that before? That was before, because I actually went. I'm trying to figure out why I made my first tune as a garage tune when I had so much drum and bass and jungle I was making with Terror Danger. So long ago, I can't remember which one came first, but that was definitely the first thing I ever had proper out. And then that was garage, and then after that, I think it was like 2000. Yeah, that was it. So 2001, with the same guy who I made that tune with, he started setting up a little studio in his bedroom, and I'll go to his house, and then we made another tune called Curb Crawl, and that was then my entry into sort of the more grimy thing, because it was coming from sort of grime into garage at this point. I mean, garage into grime sort of era. Yeah, and then we made Curb Crawl and cut some dubs for some people, so Slimzy and Lady Beeline and anyone we could get a dub to really. And Slimzy played it a couple of times, so that was enough. Right, pressing up 5,000, pressed up like 300 copies of that, and literally went around and just tried to shot it ourselves in the boxes. I think, and then we give it to distributor, and they repressed it a couple of times, and that one did well. Oh no, I did the flip side. I did the B side of that called The End, and I still play that tune today. You might not know the name, but if you heard me put it on now, like there's not many sets that I haven't played that tune in 10 years.
Not the one with the just like full on bass.
Yeah. So that was the B side of Curb Crawl. Yeah.
Yeah, I think when I watched the video the other day, an older video that with a little interview with you, you were saying that you used to call up Slimzy to play your tunes.
Yeah, and he would whisper down the phone.
The dub play.
Yeah, just like it's alright. Literally, like in my boy's yard, we'd be like, what's this saying? He'd be like, no. You know what I mean? We still do that now. Do you know what I mean? I might get up Sinjin Hawk and be like, what do you think of this? You know what I mean? It's all the same shit. Yeah. But yeah, so that was that, and then that was like the first thing on. I say our label because he was very much still a part of DVA then. That was the name of the label, right?
Yeah.
Diverse Arts, whatever. And then after that, he stopped doing music, and I just continued to do the DVA thing on my own.
Nice. Yeah, because the DVA label ran up until was it like 2016?
About then, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So I guess like what kicked off the DJing then? Because obviously you had a couple of releases there, sort of probably around the turn of the millennium, and then early 2000s. Were you already DJing at that point, or were you kind of just putting out music until kind of bookings started coming in, or how did that?
It was weird. I mean, like I DJ'd as in I always wanted to get on radio and stuff and play tunes, even from jungle days. Like I say jungle days, but like when I was buying records and stuff, I would try and get on like pirate stations and stuff like that, and I did a few times. But I think actually getting bookings, I went in the garage days, like early grime days, not garage days, it's sort of like the So Solid days. I went to Iron Napa and I played a couple sets out there, but that was just off my own back. So I never really got booked. Even when I was in grime, look how much grime I made with all these artists and stuff. You never saw me play at no grime rate, did you?
True, yeah. It's like,
yeah, I wasn't one of them. Do you know what I mean? So I don't really think I started DJing like properly until Hyperdub. Really?
Yeah.
Like if you really think about it.
And obviously you did quite a lot of radio, so there was quite a
there was that point to it. The DJing will come from the radio bit, but club DJing, no.
Yeah, because where were you on before Rinse? Was it Deja or?
Before Rinse, right before Rinse was, I had a little period on Deja, but it was I was doing one extra thing with Terror Danger.
Ah, cool. So so how did the radio thing? Obviously, you had a desire to do radio, but how did that kind of like come about, and did that sort of stick into you?
That was just radio was just when I was coming through or trying to come through, you kind of had to get on radio to be heard. You know what I mean? It might be a lot different now, You know what I mean? We want to go radio just to like, don't know, like practice hours almost. But it's not like before, like you could get bookings from going on radio. Like that was where it's going to be heard. And that's it. And so, you know, the need to get on radio was important, but I would just go there and just talk a lot. Anyway, I always had that about me. Like I was doing a show on this station called Flavor FM. And I would just go there and just play tunes, any music, like R&B, jungle, whatever, it didn't matter, garage. And I would just talk bare all the time. So I think from that, and then what happened with One Extra was I was there for a year, but I wasn't never really on there. It was actually Terra Danger's show. And what actually happened is he got a show on One Extra and asked me to come up with him for his first show just to chat. Just as a one-off thing. Yeah. And obviously I didn't stop fucking talking. And then when we come out, the lady was like, big up Emma Stevens, because it was her fault really. And she was like, that's really good. Why don't you come back next week? I was like, okay. I don't even know if Tara wanted me to come back, but like, she just said, come back in it. Like, next thing said, what the fuck are you doing here? And then that was it. I was just on that show for like a whole year. You know what I mean? And then so that was just by mistake. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then after that, Uncle Doug's. I spoke to Uncle Doug's about coming to Rinse, and I see G and Slim in Rhythm Division, and they were like, you want to come Rinse, yeah? Well, yeah, we can do this. And then they let me have a show on Rinse, and I was on before Spyro, Fridays, 8 to 10, obviously still playing tunes, but obviously still talking a lot. So that's when Sarah and G was like, well, you know what, maybe you should just do breakfast. It was their idea. And I think with that, they was like, they had an idea of what they wanted to do and get a license, and they needed a staple show where someone's just going to talk in the morning to get people locked in from the start of the day. They're like, can you do that? I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. And that's how that happened.
Yeah, that was mainly like my entry point to you was through, because at the time I moved down to London like 2008, and then you must have been on Rinse around, was it 2011, 2012, something like that maybe?
Yeah. But I started it in 2006.
Oh, on the Friday nights, yeah. But the breakfast show I think was around about that time, because I used to do like a sales rep job for Puma, so I'd spend a lot of time in the car, literally driving around the UK, and I was always buzzing. Like if I was like heading out to somewhere for the morning, like you'd be on the radio straight away, and I just used to be like cracking up, getting the lowdown on all the sick new music. It was a wicked show. Like I really. It was, that was like super informative to me, because obviously again, like as well as like playing classic tunes or whatever, you were obviously pushing a lot of new stuff at the time, and different artists, your own productions. And I mean, outside of that, I don't think there was anything else at that time of the day that you could tune into that was that informative for that kind of obviously Rinse being Rinse, but it was I guess looking at it with a wider lens, it was I feel like it was a good like cultural moment in radio for sure, because
it was definitely different. I mean, like, because you had people like Frisky would do the overnight morning thing. He was like the god of that, but he's gonna kill you with like R&B and hip hop, like, you know what I mean, and it's all gonna be from America mainly. It bust some Dizzy in there, some Lethal B, whatever, and he was a king of the overnight morning thing. And then when I started doing my thing, I feel was like somewhere you could hear DJ Rashad or Machine Drum or someone random as hell at 9 a.m. live. You know what I'm saying? Like, you weren't getting that anywhere else. You know what I'm saying? I love that about it. You get me?
That's wicked. And I guess, was it around about that time that you did work with Fatima?
What, Fatima? Yeah, I think Fatima was at like 2011, 12,
Yeah, because I used to work with Fatima at Size in Carnaby Street.
Yeah. Oh, did you work there?
Yeah. So we used to work together. So I used to hear her singing, and then like I'd left working there, and I knew she was like amazing, like vocally. And then like sort of fast forward 12 months later, I'm like driving around like doing my other job, and then like, you know, she's singing live on your show, and I just thought it was a wicked team up, and like. Yeah, just good to see her progress as well, man. Like, what was it like working with her, and how did that come about?
She's just so fucking dope for starters. Like, everything is just dope, and I love Eglo Records as well, and Alex Nutt and that whole vibe and that whole team, and just love it. Do you know what I'm saying? So me and Fatima just connected. Like, I think she used to listen to the show a lot. She's kind of mad as well, you know what I'm saying? And like, she came on the show a few times. She came on the show a few times, and it was just fun. Do you know what I mean? Like, and she dope. And then I think with the track, I knew I needed something mad, mega soulful, which is not saying it's unlike me, but I've always been more in tune with the like head voice, wanna be brandy, sort of voice. And Fatima can do that all day long, but she has this soulful belly voice going on. Do you know what I mean? It's always not really been mega my taste, although I love Jocelyn Brown and I love these type of singers. Yeah. Just to my music taste, I'm always been on a where's that Brandy Kaleda sound. Yeah. So working with Fatima is a bit out of my comfort zone, but she's just so dope. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, with that record, she just nailed it. And the song that she wrote was real. Like, she actually had nowhere to live. She was homeless at that time. So that's what that song's about. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was lucky I even got her in the studio. Maybe I only got her in because she didn't know what she was doing. You know what I'm saying? Because try to get her in the studio now, it's like, I don't know if it's going to be that easy anymore. But yeah, like, she's just amazing.
Yeah, she's a super talented artist. And yeah, like, I think her last album that came out like maybe a year or so ago was just like next level. It was like full on like operatic in some parts and quite theatrical and shit, man. But yeah, she's really strong. Yeah, I guess like from that point, like 2012, obviously you were still running the label, still doing, and like I guess the next kind of main juncture is when you kind of connected with DANNN, or like your affiliation with Hyperdub, and kind of how did it transition from there?
Yeah, I think that, yeah, so the transition was 2009, 2010, just linking up with Hyperdub, then it was just like a game changer. Because that's a label, that was a label. Up until that point, I'd never worked with a label before. You know what I'm saying? I was either just putting out myself, or we was just working between us, like, you know, maybe me and Roscoe might share some tunes or whatever, do you know what I mean? But having another label and an incentive to, like, someone saying to you, right, we would like this from you at this time, by this time. Like, I didn't have that before. So it's a whole new way of working. And a label will give a shit about people. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can work with any label, but it's not going to be like something like Hyperdub. You know what I'm saying? So I was very, very fortunate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And at the time, I mean, I obviously knew of Hyperdub, and like, I knew Joker did his thing on there, and I worked in the Rinse office. So people don't really know this, but I actually worked. So when I would finish the breakfast show, I would go upstairs and then cut up podcasts in the Rinse office. So I was always around whatever was going on. And I remember when they got the Burial Untrue album in, and I remember Stuart, aka Rat, he was like, "Have you heard this? This is Hyperdub thing. This guy called Burial." I'm like, "Nah, man, give me that. What is that?" So look to the thing. I'm like, "What is this?" All right, cool. Let me check that out. And yeah, that was just like, you know, track 2. I couldn't even get off track 2. You know what I'm saying? And then so for me, like, the working with Hyperdub was just it was a moment. You know what I'm saying? Because I've always been sending Code 9 tracks, because you know when you, like, someone sends an email and you just get like 100, they don't do a BCC, so you just get bare people's emails. I've always had his email, I've always sent him tracks, and he's never replied. Do you know what I'm saying? You get me? Yeah. But I think now I know about him, and I know that he got them tracks and he probably played some of them. Do you know what I mean? But he just never told me. So yeah, with that, I think he heard the Natty beat, and then he just wanted to release that. And then, you know, with a label like that, it just opens you up to this whole other thing. So in this time, I'm like in the studio recording a lot for grime acts and trying to make some funky and whatever. You know what I'm saying? I was stuck in this bubble of London, I guess, UK. You know what I'm saying? Stuck in this UK thing and not thinking. And it wasn't until Hyperdub and then the people outside, not that people outside wasn't buying my music, because they was. Do you know what I mean? I got to travel and people have my records, DVA music vinyls there. Do you know what I'm saying? But I didn't know that until I got out. You know, the ones there. And I used to come back and I would say to people, damn, like, it's a really unwind me about grime, because it was at a time when grime really wasn't like releasing stuff. No one was putting the money up. think, but in the end, Butter's come along and changed that idea and started putting money up and releasing stuff, and then people started pulling. But Brian really had a moment where no one was releasing shit, and if you wanted to hear it, you're only going to hear it on the radio. But I would go to places and there'd be people in other cities and they'd be like, "Oh my god, man, this DJ Spooky tune, we try to get it, but we can't get it." And it's like, yo, there's people outside of UK who love this shit. Like, and it was just after Hyperdub, that was just game changer. I was going to different countries and seeing how much they appreciated what we was doing here, even the stuff what don't even get out. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, so then you start thinking of what I did. Start thinking of not just working in that bubble anymore. You know what I'm saying? There's a whole world out there, and then I to continue to operate knowing that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Like it does like, yeah, it kind of like just broadens your perspective a bit when you first start to get like appreciation, or it did for me anyway, like appreciation from, yeah, outside of the M25. And and you travel to countries and you know, they might be fanatical about your work, and it's just, I don't know, you just don't expect it, I guess. So I didn't expect it, and yeah, it definitely makes you wonder, and like, I don't know, yeah, maybe it affects your producing, and it just, it kind of just gives you a perspective on like, yeah, like how that can work for you, and yeah, like you said, just the whole touring thing, and yeah, it just kind of opens a lot of doors up, and yeah, just again gives a point for reflection, I think. But
yeah, there's so much more basically.
Yeah,
more stuff.
Exactly. And I guess like in the last probably 5 or 6 years, I mean, the other thing I was going to say actually, just like as a bit of a general point, was we're getting a bit more to like closer times, but like you've been, I feel like from looking at your catalogue, and you know, you've been doing it for a certain period of time, but you've been like super consistent with like your output, and yeah, putting stuff out, working with artists. And I mean, I feel like that might be obvious because you're passionate about it, but a question I was going to ask is like, you know, how, are there any kind of like things that you have, I don't know whether like, not necessarily ways that you think about like producing, or, you know, how you apply a mindset to it so that like you stay consistent, basically. Just because it's quite a long time to have put out a lot of great music in different genres quite naturally. Do you know what I mean? So like understanding like, like how you're able to kind of
inspired, bro.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it's just inspiration, bro. Like, only that's it. I mean, just being, because when I'm not inspired, like if you're not inspired, you just then stop, or you can't make stuff. But I'm always inspired by just what's happening. Do you know what I mean? And just energy, and you might think that about me, but then, you know what I mean? I think that, look at Zeb Bias. Do you know what I'm saying? I was buying his records when I was at school, and he's still banging out bare tunes and bare remixes and bare albums, and like that's something to look at. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then even in the last, like right before I started the drum track EPs, which was like what, nearly 3 years ago now, or whatever, or a couple of years. But that Quincy Jones documentary, like that, you know, and then I think about people like Stevie Wonder, and like and you go on thing and look at how many albums they've got to their name. Musicians, do you know what I'm saying? Like saxophonists, like how many albums they've got to their name. Alex Coltrane, it's like, we're here to make albums, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, just making a couple. I feel like we used to just making a couple albums and whatever, and then I know that the person just fades out. Like Donny's got 25 albums to their name. I want that as well. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, we're musicians. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so that's it. I'm just gonna like keep making music, and if I stayed within one genre, I don't think I can make 25 albums. Stevie Wonder didn't. Quincy Jones didn't. He was working with Frank Sinatra, then he worked with fucking, like, you know what I mean? It's just, you can't do it. And I feel for the people who be like, you know, too many different sounds, and sometimes I think, oh man, like sometimes people can't pinpoint me to a thing because I have a few different sounds going on, or a few different moods or whatever, but how the hell am I supposed to continue making music in one mood? Do you know what I'm saying? Or one speed?
Yeah, that was something else I was going to ask actually, or at least talk about, because like I'd had it before where like, you know, I feel like I try and be varied within like my own kind of like output, and you know, for certain feedback before had been, you know, I think we're at a point where like a lot of stuff's like almost like over marketed in music, and like you have to be, you know, pigeonholed to be marketed, or, you know, I think if people like might listen to your catalog and things are too different, then people struggle to wrap their head around it. And this is like talking about at like an agent or like journalist level. And yeah, I've always felt that, like, obviously, you know, understanding where your the varied like output in your music comes from, obviously from the influence of jungle with so many different flavors, and like, yeah, just like, you know, I think artists that do produce a wide array of catalog are kind of, or can be underrated sometimes, or underappreciated.
Yeah, I hear that because you're spread out, but I think that's only a now thing. That it's only as time's gone on. Because as I said, some of these people that, you know what I mean, of back in the day, you know what I mean. Like Marvin Gaye said to Berry Gordy, "I'm not singing about that anymore. I'm singing about social injustice," and he changed up what he was talking about and did what's going on, and no one cried. Everybody loves it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, but I feel like today, if I don't know. Skendo AM like decided to do some political like album, they're gonna get laughed out of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like it's a different time. People want to keep people in a box and keep people in place, but I don't know. It's just never been able to be me. Do you know what I mean? I just imagine writing the same story every time. You're writer. You know what I mean? You make like you write a story about the tortoise and the hare, then you write a story about how the tortoise beat the hare, then you write it backwards, then you did it like we need to write a new story now. Do you know what I'm saying? So you've got Pretty Ugly, you've got Not You Online You, you've got Interludes. I'm doing a drum track album now, and these are 4 different stories. Why can you not accept that? Like, did you or did you not like Get Out?
No.
But what about what he was doing before? What about Key and Peele? It's not horror.
Yeah.
It's just a comedy. You know what I mean? It's like, why can't a comedian write horror? Yes, he can. And they're both sick. I mean, some people might not like Key and Peele, but whatever. Do you know what I'm saying? Some people do. And that's how it needs to be for me.
Definitely. So yeah, I guess touching on like upcoming projects then, have you, yeah, you've obviously just snuck a little drum track album plug in there. Where's that coming from, and when can we expect it?
Yeah, no, that's pretty much finished.
So
basically, yeah, the drum track album is pretty much finished. Like, so it was 9 EPs, which I think started in 2018. Yeah. So 9 EPs, and then 10 is an album, 10 tracker.
Nice. And then what plan to continue that series, or you're going to kind of
The series is done.
Sick.
Yeah, series is done, finished. That's why I wanted to finish it on an album, finish it on a high, with some vinyl, because none of it was vinyl, it was all digital. So yeah, so I finished it on a high, digital and vinyl. That's that story. Park that story off. Let's write another story. Do you know what I mean?
Cool. What else you got in the pipeline that you can talk about there, man? What are you working on at the minute?
Just working with different artists and that now at the moment. You know what I mean? Like, people, what I like about grime as well is that, you know, where everybody develops now. I feel that, like, when I was involved in grime a lot, your tracks had to sound like 1 or 5 different producers, or, you know, it's like, what the hell is that? You know what I'm saying? But now I feel that, like, some of the people who used to be in grime or like come up on listening to grime, they're like open to other, well, they're clearly open to many other things now. You know what I'm saying? It's taken a while, but so some of these MCs like are open to different types of sounds and stuff. So yeah, I'm working with some artists and stuff, and some bits for their projects, and in return getting some vocals back. I just have so many ideas. I don't want to unload them on you, but I just have a lot of ideas that I want to get out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's good to hear. You're going to do more work with KG?
We've got another idea in the pipe, yeah, for classics.
Second.
You know the classic EPs?
Yeah, they were. I love basically the Stevie V.
Stevie V.
Yeah. So that's like one of my all-time favorite tunes. So like your reprise of that was like a fucking gift, man. Like a gift from the gods.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, man. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah, that was fun to make, man. Super fun, and Yeah, with Karen, like we got together. How did that happen? Oh no, we did the EP before that, didn't we? With Hyperdub, yeah, that's how we collaborated. So I was making a track. This is what happened. I loved her Goon Club EP, innit?
Yeah,
And there was that Midnight Flute.
yeah, that's the one.
Midnight Flute thing. Jeez, man, yo. I did actually also play that other remix one on there as well, but that one for me, the flute and everything, I was like, this is a banger. And then, so when I was making a track one day and it had a flute in it, I'm just like, sounds like somebody else. Actually, sounds like KG. Maybe I should collaborate with her. So I hit her up, and then that's where Touch come from, that EP. And then we're like, okay, cool. Let's do another one. So then we decided to do the classics, and then we did that. And then I tried to do another one with her, and she's just like, leave me alone now. And I'm like, come on, we need to do another EP. Like, it's going off on Bandcamp. And she's like, no, I've got other things to do. So I'm like, all right, I'll do it with someone else then. So I did it with Bams. And then that's like, now I'm thinking maybe this is like a collaborative project I can continue to do for a while. And Classics 3, I've started, and fingers crossed, I mean, whether it's going to happen or not, but I've been speaking to Ans, so that could be, that could be a good one if we actually get that one finished.
Yeah, she's like her production mixes and like all the music she started putting out, man, is fucking so good.
Yeah, I mean, there was, what tune was it? Something on Finn put out. Was it Local Action? No,
yeah.
Finn label.
Yeah, it was
Finn label. Yeah.
To Be Real label, I think. Was it?
Yeah, that label. Yeah, I was like, whoa, like, because I hadn't heard her music before that. Do you know what I'm saying? I'd only seen her DJ, and she had killed it. And I think that was when I met Bams as well. So she played on a boiler room with Bams, and I'm like, damn, she's sick. And then I got that Finn EP, and I'm like, well, there was one tune there which I can't remember now. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. So I hit her up, and she sent me a bag of demos, and I think I played a couple of them. So I've always been a fan. Do you know what I'm saying? So now I've got this KG Bams thing. It just seemed only right to maybe try work with bands and see what we can make happen.
Yeah, it's good, man. I think like, sort of, I don't know, working like that kind of almost feels like a bit of a follow on with what you were doing with Fatima and stuff. And I don't know, I think like there can always be a lot of tracks that don't have like vocals in, and obviously they have a purpose, and like, I don't know, working with collaborations and like trying to pull the best out of people. I think collaboration sometimes does that as well. And I think that shows on the work that you've done with and the people you've worked with, man. I think
thanks, man.
Yeah, it's a strong look, man.
Oh, Bams, man, listen, Bams is a superstar, yo. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, I can see it. Just how I saw like with like Lady Lights, Chipmunk, and some of these people, I can see something, and I can see it in Bams, and that's a Missy Elliott thing happening right there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think people are even ready. Like, she can spray, she can sing, she can produce bangers, beats of all different tempos. I think that's gonna be a good watch. That one.
Yeah, I'll be happy to watch that and see how it plays out, man. And then like, I guess the other stuff you've been doing with Tim and Barry, when we did the live streams, when the whole Black Lives Matter thing was kind of like kicking off, and I watched some of those streams, and I felt like
Why do you watch all of them? You colonizer, man. You watch them all, bruv. They're for you. They're for your consumption.
I watched two live, and I saw Danny Native in the comments kicking off. And I felt the awkwardness in the room. I felt like that was part of the point.
Do you know what? I had no idea what Danny was talking about. I was like, you could see the awkwardness because I had no idea what was going on. Like, I didn't know that there was a problem. Like, just Danny's just coming like, tell them, and I'm like, oh my god, man, what is happening?
Yeah, I think he's.
You know what though? He had something to it. There was something to it. You know, he has a reason.
Yeah, and I remember like when I was still doing House of Tracks and stuff, and he was reaching out, he was coming to the parties and stuff, and I was playing his tunes before then, you know, and I'd never met him, but I think like, I always get the vibe that he feels like he kind of didn't really get the recognition he deserved, I guess. The thing with Blake,
it happens, man. It just happens sometimes.
It does, man. Yeah, and
I was thinking about Big Sean the other day. Look at Big Sean. Have you listened to Big Sean's new album?
No, I haven't.
Oh man, Detroit 2. It's dope. I mean, any project he does is dope, but it's just like, is he actually getting recognized as the dope rapper he is, or is he not? Do you know what I mean? Like, it happens. I don't know why it happens, but it happens. Do you know what I'm saying? With Day Native, you can go on his Bandcamp and listen to all that shit and just be like, damn, this guy's sick.
That's it. I guess like there's only a certain, not, it's kind of, no, I mean, I was going to say there's only a certain number of people that can be written about in the press or played on the radio, but ultimately a lot of the commercial stuff, whether it's press or radio, is kind of driven by money and budgets and stuff. So by default, there's always going to be a bit of a hierarchy of who gets published.
Yeah, no, but in Danny's case, I feel that like now I know what I know of him, because I didn't know this before. I just knew he made bangers and I got them, I played them. I didn't know what he was doing with his social media. I didn't know his trade of thought with techno, and it very much speaks to what's going on now. He's been saying this for a long time, and I didn't know that. That's where all his anger comes from, I guess. You know what I mean? And he's been saying it, and now what everyone's saying, he's been saying that. And but 10 years ago, you're saying that, people are just going to be like, not look at you, bro.
Yeah,
They're going to look over there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Just
and I feel that he went through that. Do you know what I'm saying? Real talk.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, I hope that, I mean, obviously there's been huge like backlash with big like house music labels and all that sort of stuff. And I don't know, I just hope that there's going to be a kind of reset from that comes out of this that kind of changes a lot of things. But I guess, there's certain things that you can affect yourself. And yeah, I just hope there's a bit of a reset and it's giving everyone a chance to like reassess what they're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's going to happen. It is happening. I also think that there's people who are not interested in that, and that's what that's going to be. That, you know what I mean? And I feel like there will be two different parts of this thing that we're in, right? And there's going to be the people who give a shit and want to change stuff. There's going to be the people who do not give a shit, and they're just going to try and continue to have a career anyway and not care about other people's feelings or thoughts. And that, I call that comfort island. And you're going to see that happening with their raves and their lineups and their promoters, and they're just going to try and keep doing their thing over there. And we're going to leave them to it.
Agreed, man. I think, the least interaction with that side of the community, like the better, really,
Yeah.
But
that's not music, man. If you go back and listen at all these documentaries and that, all the stuff that we missed out on, and what my brothers got to experience when they raved, disco, you know what I'm saying? Like we was all together. Like, that's it. Black, white, gay, didn't matter. Everyone was together. But there's people who don't want that. Do you know what I mean? So just let them be over there and do that.
Exactly. I think that's where, like just the cashing in on it as basically like kind of derailed a little bit what's going on, And yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's, like I said, like you were saying, I think if there's a new fork in the road again, at least like you'll be able to understand where other people's loyalties lie and help you navigate best which kind of way you should be going. Do you know what I mean? Rather than getting.
No, let me add to this though as well while we're on this subject. There also needs to be that fork, but there also needs to be, for me, another fork in our fork. I think real talk, bro, because we can all happy party rave like it's the 90s or something, yeah. But you know what's been getting me since the start of this pandemic, lockdown, whatever you want to call it, because we've had to start thinking about stuff. And you know what I thought? I've played at so many parties with people like Plastician and yourself and, and whatever, yeah? And you have got I don't know if it's a luxury or whatever, or just, you've got to play to a party full of people your own colour. You've got to do that. I've never got to do that in the music that I do. I can do it maybe if I wanted to start playing dancehall or something, do you know what I'm saying? But if I'm playing my music in London or UK, I don't have the chance to play in front of a crowd of predominantly my people. I find that super duper weird, and I think that I'd like to see that change. Because I'll tell you why. When you're playing and there's a row of five, I don't know if I said this in the Tim Barry thing, but when there's a row of the five people in the front and they're looking at you, DJ and you're playing your tracks, Scratcha stuff and all like this, and they're like, wow, I want that to be me. That can be me, because you know what I mean. You look like me, and I'm in tune with it. But see, when they're and I'm DJing, they're like, yeah, it's Scratcha's cool, he's sick, but there's a different translation, bro. They don't see themselves in me because I'm black. A black person will see himself in me, but I'm never playing to a row of black boys or girls.
Got it.
I'm playing to white boys.
Do you think that's a promoter's thing, or is it a club, like a venue?
Oh, no, sorry, one sec. What? Your hair looks really nice. What did you do? Okay. Yeah, let's go. Okay. Sorry.
Smooth.
Okay.
Yeah. So, do you think playing to like a room, like a predominantly black crowd, do you think that's a promoter or a venues thing, or do you think? Yeah. What do you think? Do you think there needs to be like?
It's a mix of everything. It's a mix of a few things. You know, it's a mix of so many things, and one of them is the venues. Another one is black people not even realizing that this is also for us. Do you understand? Like, if I'm going out and playing a set of, you know, the stuff I'm making, why do black people feel like it's not their thing? It fucking is. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so they might be more inclined to, like, we'll be going to the O2 or whatever to see Drake or see someone perform, or we'll go to Mayfair to hear all the R&B hits or whatever, or some Afro beat or whatever. But they don't think that what I'm playing and what we're playing is black people for black people. It is, but it became whitewashed because of so many different things, like venues and who's putting out the music and where it's going and how things are, all of these things. You know what I mean? Black people not being let in the club, and like all these things, I think, have made it in a way where I'm only able to go out and play in front of white people unless I'm playing dance or hip hop. I don't know. I find something wrong about that, and I want that to change.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. I think it's I don't know, at least like within the time that I've been promoting or whatever in the last like 10 years in London, like it's mainly been like white promoters, I guess. And
Right.
yeah, and those the audience kind of relates, I guess, to a certain degree. So
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, it'd definitely be good to and yeah, just like the whole event. I mean, countless venues that I've seen with security that are dickheads to like not letting certain people in, and you know that is obviously another big factor. I know we touched on it before I started recording, but I think like I was chatting to another mate the other day, and I'm hoping and I think that out the back of this that you're going to see, and I hope to see maybe different types of like business models, or the way like I don't know, I'm thinking with like a venue owner's head on, and like, you know, if they're struggling now or if they end up closing, for one to reopen, or you know, for them to try and change how they make their income or make their business survive, that they're gonna have to try to do something different other than be a club. Or I don't know, I feel like there's going to be, and hopefully there should be a bunch of different DIY experiments almost with the model of how things work going forward, whether it's, I don't know, fucking music studio and community center that sits alongside a club, or I don't know, man, like different ways that like
just something different. Yeah, it was right. And I also feel that promoters also, you know, with this, how promoters been working. I say white promoters, or any promoters and clubs. Like, I think that it's been this tunnel vision thing. They're just doing just to get people in, just doing. And I think that in this time where I think for a lot of people didn't even realize that how black people are having it in the music industry, and maybe we'll go forward with a different mentality so we can make some real change. You know what I mean? There's that as well. So, like I said, there's going to be promoters who are just going to only book white acts and they're going to stay over there on Comfort Island. But I think for the rest of us, I'm looking at that light at the end of the tunnel. It's going to come. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, exactly.
Also, clubs as well got to let black people promote events. Like, you know what I mean? There's been promoters that have said to me that, like, I don't know if this ever happened to you, because I know you promoted enough parties, but they want to see pictures of your last party.
For like
and people just have to give the pictures. just to see who comes to your parties, whether they're black or white. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if it's a healthy amount of white people, then you've got the club. There's too many black people, they're going to tell you reasons why they can't give you the club. Like, all that shit's got to change.
Yeah, I mean that stems back to the whole fucking what was that? What was the bill? It got basically got grime bans. Fucking
696.
Exactly, like all that bollocks. Like it's
the grime ban and all that. Yeah, yeah. All these things. So yeah, with all these things, if we can just, I just wanna be able to. I want us to know it's our music. I want to see us party. Because if you look at jungle, I mean, I never got to go to these things. I think I went to like 1 or 2 jungle parties where I wasn't even allowed to get in or whatever. But if you look at them on YouTube or whatever, it's just like healthy amount of black people, healthy amount of everyone. You know what I'm saying? But it's like we got pushed out of our own music. Look at grime, damn. Look at early Sidewinder things, and then look at a show now where they might do a Eskimo dance or whatever. No, just like that.
one of them.
But I made that an example. But do you get my point? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think. I mean, what's your gut saying on when do you think the clubs are gonna potentially reopen?
Hey man, I thought they was gonna open in April. Like what they shut in March, and I had a show in April, and I'll be back on by then. Then that show got moved, and I was like, it'll be back on by June or whatever it was. Then I now have this other show which I'm hoping opens in October.
Yeah.
At Fire, back to back of Code 9, and I'm just like, please open. Like, this lineup is so sick. So I'm just taking it day by day. What do you reckon?
Yeah, like and this is, I guess, hopeful. Yeah, but like I'm hoping for the middle of next year. Like,
man said hopeful for the middle of next year. I'm not trying to wait, bruv. Man, we can put that. What? No, I heard on Jazz FM yesterday. I had Jazz FM on the radio, and they said that Jazz Cafe is opening like next week or something.
Yeah,
like,
but is it all seated or something?
Okay, so seated venues are opening, right?
I think so. I think that's what I saw about Jazz Cafe. I just read like the headline of the title, and I'm sure it was like evolving it into like more of a seated venue. I mean, that's fine for like, I guess, jazz acts and stuff, but I mean, yeah, how are you gonna stop people getting up and dancing?
Exactly, you're not. You know what I mean? So I mean, but at least that's something seated, whatever, and jazz can get on. And from that, if that goes okay, then maybe we can get to the clubs. But up until this point, we've just had nothing. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah. I'm optimistic that we can get it. I'm just trying to think, if we don't have it back on by New Year's Eve, Jesus. Wow. New Year's Eve.
All hell's going to break loose if we don't.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's in their best interest to get this back on, because what we clearly know is that we need to party. We need it. Like, human beings need it. And they're going to do it anyway. All these people online being like, look at you lot play graves, look at you, you're spreading germs and that. Okay, cool. But I understand people need to do this for their sanity. Like, we've never been locked up like this before. So I would like people to take that into consideration, that human beings will always find a way to party. There's countries where they're bombing the hell out of it. You think that people still ain't partying? They're partying. Real talk.
Well, I think either China or Japan, I think their clubs have reopened, but they're just like, they're checking temperatures on the way in, and I know that, I feel like the Asian culture is a bit more obedient than we are in the West in terms of like wearing masks and stuff. But
yeah, they've been wearing masks before.
Exactly. So yeah, they feel like there needs to be a way around it, a way to do it, but it's just not really being addressed by the government, and other than slapping people with a fine if they put on a party. Or
yeah, didn't that 19-year-old kid get like a 10k fine for 50 people?
Yes, absolutely.
But I don't know, it's kind of scary. Like, the scary bit about it is that the fact that they've actually managed to get people to not socialize with more than 6 people. That's scary by law, and the fact that they can, if they want to, not ever lift that law.
Yeah.
How scary is that shit, bro?
Yeah,
it's
man.
Mad.
Yeah, like the level of there's part of my mind that's like, you know, they want this level of control,
Yeah.
all that sort of thing. You know, how quickly they would just made everyone fucking stay indoors. I know they obviously scared us with, you know, coronavirus.
And they're saying snitch as well.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Oh, well, fucking call the feds if your fucking neighbours got his mates around. Like, what the fuck? That's only because they haven't got enough police to enforce all this anyway, really. But
Bruh.
it's
Crazy, bro. We're actually living an episode of Black Mirrors. This is a fact. Like,
yeah.
I'm trying to see what the new Black Mirrors is like, because it's just like, how could he just, every time I watch that thing, it just blows my mind. But I'm just like, what's more going to blow my mind more than what's happening in real life right now? Nothing.
Yeah. The gap between like sci-fi and reality is getting closer and closer, man.
Yeah. For real.
Mate, I think we've been running for about just over an hour. I was just going to say, is there anything else you want to kind of cover off or chat before we kind of sign off, man?
Nah, man. No.
Sounds like you've got some good projects coming up. Sounds like you're...
Yeah, man, just taking it bit by bit. But yeah, I just want to get this album out, and just interested in producing for some artists, man. And Lady Likes, yeah. That's a because with Hyperdub, my thing with Hyperdub at the moment is that I've always given them beats, but since the drum track EPs, which I started as a release of like, just because I actually got depressed, like musically depressed after the second Hyperdub album.
Right.
Probably because I made the whole thing in the dark and it messed with my brain, right? But after that, I was like, I need something fun. And that's where the drum track EPs come from. All this doom fun stuff, because I needed it, or I was gonna like jump off the. I was like, okay, this is fun. Let me do it again. So that's where that come from. And then, so now I'm like, any beats I make, I just want to put it out myself. But I want to do special stuff with Hyperdub, like work with artists. Okay. So I do that with them. Beats are for me. Do you know what I'm saying? Because ultimately, I stopped doing DVA music and I needed my own label again. So
yeah, the outlet to put stuff out like with without a sign off sort of thing.
Without a sign off, that's why there's so many came so much, because it's like I'm not having to answer to anything. I'm not having to wait for another artist. I can just go. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've got that train, but then over here with Hyperdub, it's like I'm producing for Lady Likes. Do you know what I mean? And then I'd like to get another artist and produce that artist and go to Hyperdub, and that's how I'd like my relationship with them to continue.
Nice, mate. It sounds healthy. Like we said, you got to be able to like manage the two things. You obviously got the support of the label and to work with other artists and do your collaborations and the more production hat on. And then put your club and your beat stuff out kind of on your own terms, I guess. So,
what do you think though about club putting out club beats though? What do you think? Like in these times and in the future times, what's your thought?
It's weird because like. Obviously, no clubs are open, but like, I don't know, man. I still jam to club tracks if I'm fucking walking down the street or in the car, or I'll still listen to like a variation of tunes. Do you know what I mean? So, I think it's healthy to still be putting club music out, because I feel like the creativity won't or doesn't or shouldn't stop. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
Maybe it adds a different context if you're not necessarily producing for a club. Like, for example, like Scream's been producing loads of stuff that isn't straight up techno, which is like feels like a perfect storm for like an outcome of this situation that wouldn't have happened. So I don't know, man. I think there's going to be a lot of interesting stuff to come from it, from established artists. But yeah, I feel like sometimes you can get into a cycle of like overthinking putting music out, and I think there is a time. And there's a time and a place for that, to like analyze stuff, I guess, or like take a step back. But I think it's healthier to just like release stuff as and when you feel like it, so that you kind of maintain a bit of a flow. And I guess that's what you've done over the years anyway.
Yeah.
I've had a bit of a dry spell myself, but I'm always making stuff and sat on stuff, so that I just
why are you sitting on stuff?
Wow, just mate, like the last 2 years, like with having a little one, it's been time, man. Like becoming a dad and stopping doing house of tracks all within the last like 4 years. Like put out an album in 2016, and then like I guess like, yeah, got married, had a kid, like I had loads of job stress. Like I didn't work. Like I lost my job just before my wife was due to have our daughter.
No way.
So this was the whole of last year.
Did they know that as well?
Who, yeah, they knew she was pregnant.
And they, oh no.
Snakes, man, snakes. So I feel like, and I've maintained my job this year. So I feel like work-wise and financially, I had a worse year last year. Worse year financially, even though my daughter was born, I was like amazing. But I feel like, yeah, a lot like music. It was weird, like the end of the pregnancy and like losing my job. I like kind of like was totally not thinking about music. But then as soon as my daughter was born and I wasn't working, I was like, me and my wife kind of flipped roles. I was doing most of the childcare for the first like 6 months. And like the baby was sleeping like 18 hours a day. So she was literally asleep on my legs. And I was like on the couch.
Really? You was lucky. Lucky.
Yeah, I got a lot of time last year to like make new stuff again. And then, yeah, I guess just been time and money.
Why have you been putting it out then, all these Bandcamp days?
I know.
What I mean?
Mr. Trick. I literally only got on it last month.
What? I was just saying the other day, like anyone who's only just jumped on it has missed it. Forget it. You missed it. Like all that, like the first one was the best one. It was like community and it was a vibe. And it's like, oh my God, what's going on? Oh my God, we love each other's music. And all the like journals were just writing because they loved it and not because they're trying to score points and all this stuff. And it was a beautiful thing. And I'm telling you, it's not that anymore.
Yeah.
Now it's
we're like 4 or 5 months deep and everyone's like, yeah, whatever, it's normal now.
Yeah. Now it's just like, I don't know what it is now. It's just weird. I think like this Bandcamp Day thing, no, big up Bandcamp, yeah, I appreciate the whole idea of it, do you know what I mean? But like, I feel like now the people who ain't releasing like digitally everywhere, like Spotify now, are now using that as their release date. And it's just kind of weird. And I also feel, don't know about you, I don't know about any other musicians who are on Bandcamp, but I feel that it's changed the way that people are buying music from a Bandcamp. You know what I mean?
It's all focused into that day.
It's just focused on that day. And as well, and not that saying people ain't buying, but it doesn't seem like as like the velocity of buying isn't as much through the time now because of this day, I feel, with mine. And now because everyone is now putting out on that day. Before it was like, if you knew, you knew. And then it's like, then the people who knew were told their mate who's on Bandcamp already. And now that person is telling the person, get on Bandcamp. Then the people who weren't on Bandcamp are now getting on Bandcamp. And then you got the labels who are like, look at all these artists making money about us. Get all that stuff on Bandcamp. So you got all that, you know what I mean? It's like, all right, everyone's here now, cool. And now it's just like, I think we're spreading it a bit thin.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I guess, saturated for that day or that weekend. And
yeah, man. But I'm not sure if it's working the same way, so we need to figure that one out as well.
Exactly. Maybe they need to put a set of random days each month.
Random, yeah, just like out of the blue. It's today. That's it, bro. Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's been a pleasure. I think we could go on more and talk about a bunch of other topics, but I feel like we've kind of covered the initial like journey of like how you've kind of like progressed over the years, and like it's exciting to hear like the way you think about like how things are established now in terms of like the label and putting stuff out yourself, the way you work with artists and the different outlets that you have for telling different stories, I guess.
Yeah.
I think that will be a good like inspiration, I guess, for other artists that like might be wondering how they can either continue to make, you know, talking about this situation might have stopped people producing, try something else, try a different mood. So I don't know, I think that's been super informative, man. Do you say you've got a release date for the Drum Track album yet that people can know about? Or?
I'm just trying to figure out when I can get vinyls back for. And then once I know that, because I haven't done vinyl for ages like myself, so when I know that, then I can start thinking about dates. But it's definitely going to be by December.
Sick.
Yeah, definitely by December. And it's sounding crazy, bro.
For sure, man. Well, and you want to give any shout outs before I stop recording and whatnot?
Not really, man. What I want to say is, man, big up everyone because this is weird times. But I'm just watching social media and just I'm seeing some people like having these mini breakdowns, bro. If you're having a breakdown, stop having a breakdown, bro. Like, stop it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, stop having a breakdown. It's okay. Like, it's really okay.
Yeah, ease up a little bit and take it a day at a time, innit, man?
Yeah, man. Real talk. Hey, bro. Hey, bro.
Wicked, bro.